Hi, I'm David O'Keefe. I'm the author of One Day in August and 7 Days in Hell, which One Day in August takes a look at the Dieppe raid, and 7 Days in Hell looks at the Black Watch in the Battle of Normandy. And I've been working as a military historian now for getting on 30 years. And not only do I teach, but I also work in documentaries and do a lot for History Channel.
My name is Barris. I'm the author of Battle of the Atlantic, Gauntlet to Victory, just published by HarperCollins. It's my 20th book. I'm a freelance writer. I've been a freelancer for about 50 years, doing everything from what we used to refer to as industrial videos through to broadcast, a lot of work on CBC radio and television. I've been a journalism professor, retired just a couple of years ago after 20 years of teaching in journalism and broadcasting, and have now decided to go back to where I came from as a freelancer and write books. Well, the Battle of the Atlantic, as it turns out, is the longest continuous military action of the war. Went from September the 3rd, 1939, when the Germans sank the Athenia and the British declared war on Germany, right through to May the 8th, VE Day, when Admiral Dunitz told his U-boats to surrender wherever they were. So it went 2,074 days. So trying to put that into one book is impossible. However, one of the elements of all of my books is a focus on people. I've had the good fortune to interview probably 6,000 veterans over the years. And so you draw on that library of material of men and women in all the forces, and in this case, the Merchant Navy as well, and civilians who participated in everything from keeping Halifax and North Sydney going where the convoys were born, right through to people who worked at Bletchley Park in Britain on the decoding of Enigma. So it's really, the book is driven by the people experiences that I will bring out in the presentation when I talk about it, and try to cover the context of how the battle really was pivotal in the war, in the sense that first you win at sea and then you can hope to win on land. And so winning the Battle of the Atlantic was absolutely essential in order for us to get the launch pad in Britain and liberate Europe.
Well, the book that I'll be speaking about today is actually One Day in August, and it's all about the intent behind the Dieppe raid. And this was a culmination of almost 25 years of work and about 150,000 pages of material that I sift through to find out exactly what the infamous Dieppe operation was all about. And the fascinating part is when we take a look at it, it comes down to a direct connection with the Battle of the Atlantic. And that's why our talk that we're doing today is kind of like a seamless interlocking, if you will, of the two different subjects.
One of them, the work that David's done in understanding how intelligence was so pivotal in knowing where the U-boats were so that the convoys could avoid them. Initially, as he'll describe, it was a matter of dodging the U-boats. Later, it became imperative that the Allies not only dodged them, but knew where they were going. And so the escalation of that intelligence, the ramping up of the skills, the technology, capability of the people involved was a sort of a turnkey moment for the survival of the convoys and keeping England alive and winning the battle.
Yeah, certainly intelligence, particularly signals intelligence in the Battle of the Atlantic, is symbiotic with victory. I mean, you need it, and you can see the ebb and flow of the Battle of the Atlantic as the ebb and flow of the cryptographic war goes as well.
But one of the things that we do, it's inherent in writing history in this country. It's such a vast nation, and with so many communities disparate as they are, we try to get to as many of them as we can to do public speaking events. Yeah, it helps sell books, it helps get our faces and our work out there, but what it does for especially young people is to give them a sense that we have an extraordinary warrior tradition that's worth celebrating. We were in Edmonton last night, and a youngster who's probably in grade 8.
He's in grade 8.
This young man has been to several of our talks, and he was just glued to everything we said, and vice versa, because when he stood up and he offered a question, he challenged us beautifully, and we thought, this young man is extraordinary.
Oh, yeah.
And in a way, the subtext to all we do is to keep the torch being passed to young people such as he is, to make sure that the stories stay alive, that they're celebrated, that they're acknowledged, that they're remembered, and that these people who served us a generation or two ago never slip from our memory.
And the great part about it, it seems to be working. Well, the books are available everywhere, all major bookstores, online as well. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them on a whole bunch of different places, local bookstores, of course. And we're both active on social media, so you can certainly find us there on all the major platforms.